Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of the podcast. And in October, I cannot believe it's October already, because it's dark where I am right now. And that's not because it's evening; it just gets dark earlier. And today I'm joined with Katie, um, and we are going to speak about Katie's journey. Well, not we, me. Katie's going to talk about it, and I'm going to talk about it as well when she talks about it. But yeah, so we're going to speak about Crohn's, we've got IBD, and all that wonderful stuff. So, Katie, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Yeah, of course. It could have been really interesting if you tried to tell my story before I told it. That could have been an
Yeah.
interesting spin on things.
Yeah.
But as you already mentioned, my name is Katie. I live in New Hampshire, of the United States. So I actually live pretty far north, so it gets dark by me pretty early as well, which is really sad, but not as dark as it will be later on.
Yeah.
Uh, it gets like 3 p.m. is like when it'll get dark. Not now, currently, thank God, but in the middle of the winter.
It's
Um,
really bad, isn't it, when it gets dark?
yeah,
Not not
I
not
know.
not nice, is it?
No, 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 not
No.
not at all.
No.
Um, but I've had Crohn's disease for the last 20 years. I'm 30 now, so I was diagnosed when I was 10. Um, Pretty quick diagnosis, and unfortunately, it didn't help with the quick progression of the disease. So I've had everything from a bowel resection surgery to ceton placements with fistulas. I've had Crohn's everywhere from just my small intestine now to the perianal region. So I feel like I've kind of seen a little bit of it all. I've also been on most of the medications besides anything that's new. I haven't had the latest and greatest of some of the medications, but um, so I feel like I've done it all. I graduated college in 2019. The last 5 years I've been working in the corporate world, kind of in the medical retail side of things, separate medical and then retail. Um, Now I recently quit and am working full time for myself, taking my brand Badass with a Badass kind of full time to see what I can do with it in terms of consulting and helping other patients figure out what works for them in terms of work, because I felt like I also experienced it all in terms of corporate life and just
Yeah.
holding a job and balancing all of that jazz. So
Yeah.
that's kind of me in a nutshell. I'm a big cat person
Okay.
and I have a fiance, but you know,
Yeah. You like cats?
I do. I have only one. Um, she kind of has this, like a really big personality though, so sometimes she's annoying. But honestly, I like that. I feel like, she really provides some great entertainment, whether
Yeah.
positive or negative.
Yeah. When things are going bad, she helps.
Yes, yes, for sure.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So it's good that you decided to work for yourself because it's easier, isn't it? Because if things go wrong, you don't have to tell someone. You you can just have a day off. Um,
Yeah, yes. And it's hard to balance telling someone and having that explanation and then balancing, that it's my, right to be able to disclose that, but then, it doesn't stop the unconscious bias from happening. And so I just kind of got really burnt out in 5 years. So,
yeah, it's good. Not that you got burnt out, but it's good that
right.
you you've chosen to do that. Um, yeah. So you got diagnosed when you was 10.
Yep.
Um, that's quite young, isn't it? 10.
Yeah, my initial symptoms were just the abdominal pain that I had, the nausea, and I actually had like a weird dental issue at the time where just like my gums were swollen, and that's kind of like why it was like a red flag that I might have an autoimmune condition. Um, so that's what led me down the path of like going to the pediatrician and going to the pediatric GI doctor and having the colonoscopy and finding out that I had Crohn's in my ileocecal valve. Um, and starting the process from there, the fun process of trying the medications from
Yeah,
the ground up. Oh yeah.
yeah. That's the best part, isn't it? Trying these all these different
Hmm.
medications. Okay, I've got one you haven't got. Yeah,
Yep. So I started all the way at the bottom with all like I call them the easy drugs. So like the mesalamines of like an Azacol or a Pentasa, and then I went all the way up to the infusions of like Remicade and Tibio, and I've been on Humira.
yeah.
I've I've been on a lot of them. Yeah.
It's not good, is it? Being all these different medications. It's good that it helps sometimes, but you always feel like when you try something new that it's not going to work, don't you?
Yeah, I definitely it's been a trade-off for sure. And I think that it was unfortunate that I had to take the path of just kind of try it and see what happens when I feel that research is a lot farther along and maybe hopefully most patients are getting like up leveled and getting on proper, treatments that would actually have an impact on their ulcerative colitis or their Crohn's right from the start. Um, but it was definitely hard to see how many medications I've been on and to be able to now say like, oh, I've already been on that one and you can't really go back. At least they haven't figured that out and approved of that yet. So,
Yeah, it's really tough because all these different ones have side effects, different side effects, and sometimes you got to try and stay away on them to help the
yeah,
pain. Yeah. So
it's a big trade-off.
yeah. Um. So when you wasn't diagnosed before you was 10, did you hear of IBD or Crohn's? Or was that like the first time?
No, when I was diagnosed, it was the first time I had heard about it. Um, Now I can't imagine a world where like I had never known about it, but um, I feel like it's better to know about it, not like if you're at risk per se, but to know once you have it, what the risks are or what the accessory diagnosis C's are, as I call them. So any add-ons
Yeah.
that you may get of, arthritis or psoriasis or POTS or endometriosis, or, it kind of just seems like once you get one diagnosis, more can be added on or have already been contributed or
I've seen them.
however that works. Yeah.
Yes. At risk of everything. At
Hmm.
risk of loads of different things, which you just maybe not even heard of. Some of them. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, it's crazy to think that you can have another chronic illness on top of the one we got, and it's really unfortunate because
Hmm.
I've spoke to some people that have had loads, and I think to myself, like, I didn't know that was possible.
Right.
I didn't know you could have more than one. I think one is hard enough, and because others can complicate another one, so which is why we
How
try and try and avoid it as best we can. It can't be helped.
And plus, it's like, how do we know chicken or egg situation? Like, what came first? Which disease? Like, was it just the prognosis, or, you know, was it just, stroke of luck that we find the doctor that's able to diagnose it?
Yeah, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So why did you decide to start raising awareness?
I felt that because I had been on all of those medications, and because once I had my first bowel resection surgery, it was so debilitating that I felt that what research or understanding had already been presented to me about IBD as a whole wasn't enough. It felt like it didn't encompass everything that I was experiencing or how much it was truly impacting my life. I felt that I was either an anomaly or I was just like super alone in it, or something was just not clicking for me. So I always kind of held that with myself, even after I, recovered from my surgery and I went on with my life and I did, reach remission at one point. Still, once I was in college and trying to become an adult, quote unquote, that I could tell that there was still a gap in my own understanding of what could happen to my body and my mind with the disease, but also everyone else's understanding. I felt that I was still having to really dig deep to explain it to other people or to make accommodations for myself or even feel seen once I did announce that I had the diagnosis. And especially when I got the add-on diagnosis of perianal Crohn's disease, when I got the fistulas, um, it really was that pivotal moment where I was just like, wait, I thought I knew what was potentially happening to my body, what could happen to my body, and now there's this complication never heard of, and there's really no proper like treatment or like known path of what's going to help it. I was just like, whoa, that's we can't be living like this. Um, so it was really the fistulas that made me want to advocate more for it because they can be so that debilitating factor again. And it still seems like even medical professionals, like we're all confused by what they are. Um, and that's where I got the inspo for my brand name, Badass with a bad ass.
Yeah,
Yes, because yeah,
yeah, because they're bad
yeah.
and they're an ass. Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I completely understand what you're saying because I have fish too. Um, and even before I think I was diagnosed, that was one of the reasons of my Crohn's. Because I can go to the toilet or anything. Um, they were stopping me go, and I, I say they. I only have one, but even just one's hard. And then why are they in that? Why are they in that part of the body? Why?
right.
I mean,
Yeah,
be anywhere else.
yeah. Hmm.
I mean, it's just
Well, I've had them in my bladder before, and that was no. That was when I had my bowel resection. They found them all like buried in my small intestine into my bladder. Um, no fun. Not that the perianal region is any better. I really don't know
yeah.
which one's worse.
But that sounds as bad as I don't think any of those two we just mentioned. I don't think any of them. I think going to the toilet is even worse because
Yes.
at least with the anal one that oh, unless you go through a toilet maybe at that time you could maybe it be helped, but with actually going maybe for a wee that's hard. Might
Yeah.
sting maybe.
Yes. I felt like I had a constant like UTI. The amount of times I would get tested for UTI was crazy. And they never really saw it on any of the MRIs or the CT scans or anything. Like nothing showed the six fistulas. Um,
Yeah.
Science has come a long way, but it's still not fully there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find fishes is one of those things that not many people want to speak about because where they are. Um,
And it's like because they aren't researched enough and not spoken enough. Like it's such uncharted territory. Like it's just, of course, we feel so alone in it and don't want to talk about it because it's like how I don't even know what's happening to myself. So how can I explain it to another person at times of like, why does sitting on a heating pad make my butt feel better? Why
yeah,
does it randomly get infected? Like, why can a normal bowel movement feel worse than maybe a watery bowel movement at times? How does that make any sense? You know, like,
yeah,
what is coming out of the fistula? Can someone just answer that question? You know, like, it's wild. It's wild, this part of the disease.
yeah. It's definitely that's a very good word to use. It is wild because anything can happen at any certain time when you think you're doing all right. Like for me, it can impact other things. Like you can't maybe there's a fissure up there, but someone else might be there up there as well. Um,
Yeah.
like hemorrhoids or stuff like that.
Yep.
Um, and just irritates it. And you put cream up there, and then it can either make it worse or it can make it better. Um, But the annoying thing is they don't really go unless they're, I guess, sectioned. But that's not even getting them rid of them really. Um, they're always going to be there, and yeah, that's one of the most unpleasant things. Except maybe abdominal pain, which
Right.
is something as well. But something abdominal pain can go time to time, but with these fistulas, they don't seem to go.
No, and there doesn't seem to be anything that really touches it in terms of pain or like it's a hard sensation to explain of sometimes. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense even to myself after all of these years of having active fistulas down there. Like it just has never made any sense to me. The setons, I was part of a clinical trial for the fistulas, um, for the perianal region with the stem cells, and I actually got the placebo. And but two out of my three fistulas healed. So I was like, hello, what happened? Like what part of the process worked for me then? Like what was it the procedure itself? Like someone redo the research and like let me know because it's crazy.
It is. It is crazy. And like I thought it was when I first found my bum was quite uncomfortable and I won't go into the toilet. I didn't know what it was. I mean, I went to the doctors because they tell you go to the doctors if something's wrong, which I think you should just go to the hospital really. But
Yeah,
the doctors don't know nothing, and most of them don't know anything about Crohn's. And
right.
I remember the last time I went, yeah, this guy telling me, you have to get it looked at, otherwise you might have surgery, stuff like that. So they worry you more than anything. So once, this long time ago now, it makes me feel old, but a long time ago, I went to the doctor's, and the doctor was supposed to look at my bum, um,
Yeah,
and they didn't. They didn't do it. And the reason they said they didn't want to do it was because they felt I was going to be uncomfortable. But um, but I was like, that's the whole point. I mean, I'm supposed to be uncomfortable, and the thing was, they were uncomfortable, not me. Well, I was going to be
right.
uncomfortable anyway, but the point was they were uncomfortable. So I think they left in the end. I think it went really further, took it further because them doing that made my fistula get worse, and it did. And I went to the consultant that I go to, and he supplied stuff, I think, to help it and put it under control. But yeah, sometimes I just feel like the doctors are useless.
Yes. And I know the system is different over
Yeah,
there than it is over here, where like I
yeah,
have my continuous like GI doctor who I'm able to go to that, keeps track of my entire like history. But then I play the fun game of the insurance, which is another
mm,
scam. Um, that is what it is over here, for sure. But the lack of training and understanding with the perianal fistulas is what's leading to a lot of people like either not getting properly diagnosed with the IBD that they should be diagnosed with, or they're not getting proper treatment, not getting proper drainage, like not being looked at properly. Like it's just a neglect in the entire medical system, I feel like at this point.
yeah,
And more people need to be talking about it because the more we talk about it, the more it unfortunately puts it back on the researchers and it puts it back on the pharmaceutical companies and the doctors to figure out what's going to work.
yeah. It's just wild, like we said before, but it is. Um, I don't know. I just like that word now. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough talking about it because I mean, I don't know about you, but I wouldn't just go to my friend and like, if I think a friend asks her how am I doing, and I'm not going to say what's wrong because it's quite personal, isn't it, about the fishness, and you lose friends because of it. Or like because of the Crohn's and people think that you're just making excuses like you don't want to go out because it's dark. I mean, a lot of people nowadays like going out, and partying and getting drunk.
Right.
I mean, I don't like that. I mean, I like cozy. I like just home, especially at this time of year. So,
Right.
I mean, too cold. It's too cold
I think
outside.
I think it's still that it's a hard conversation to have with anyone of you know, Crohn's or ulcerative colitis because of the type of disease it is to begin with, but especially with the fistulas, it's even harder to explain to people.
Yeah.
I feel that I have not shied away from explaining it to my friends,
Mm,
but I have curated a group of friends that I can trust a lot, and it doesn't make me feel like less alone in terms of it, but it does help when, I'm able to like answer their questions that they feel are uncomfortable. But to me, I'm even honored that they're asking that question or even curious about it, just in a sense of learning about it. Like one of my friends was like, "Do you fart out of your other hole?" And I was like, honestly, I don't know. Yes. I was like, something comes out, but I don't, it's not pooping. And she was like, okay, cool. I was just really curious about that. And she was like, I needed to know. And I was like, yeah,
oh,
no.
right.
Like I
Yeah.
was like, I respect the question. I respect the hustle, like, and I think once, hopefully more people will be more comfortable with talking about it. Because at the end of the day, we all poop. We just
Yeah.
don't have extra holes. And like,
Yeah.
more people just need to understand that it's a tough world out there still for us that don't have a fully working body. And we have to be met,
Yeah.
unfortunately, at our home doors. So
Yeah.
bring some pie and let's watch a show and like let's do that. And more
Definitely.
people need to be comfortable with that. I don't want to go to a club and stand in a line for a bathroom. No.
Yeah.
I've taken that chance. I've done it before. It was never it was fine. It was never overly fun for me.
I think the problem with that though is you're having the pressure to hurry up because people are also waiting to go.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still struggle with that. I still don't know what to do with that situation. Just wish society as a whole would reanalyze how many bathrooms are publicly needed in order for people to properly go and what that looks like. I think they're based on historical times of like people eating less. I have no idea. I don't know what they were based on, but there's not enough anywhere.
Yeah.
So,
And sometimes I've been to places where you have to pay. Some people have to pay to go. And I'm thinking,
yeah.
yeah, they shouldn't be doing that. I mean, I think £1, a place I went to
Well,
recently, and
I,
it's I don't think it should be allowed. But I understand why they do it. But
was
it's
it clean at least? Did you feel like you got a great transaction out of it?
I didn't actually pay because next to it they
Okay,
have the disabled, and you can just put
nice.
your key in there. So I didn't do it, but
You guys have the key
yeah.
over there. See, we don't have the key over there,
You
over
don't have the
here.
key. You don't have the key.
No, so we have only like, you're lucky if there's a handicapped like stall in a public restroom. And then if there's like a handicapped, I still refer to it as handicapped because that's actually what the sign will say, but a disabled bathroom that's like private, I still get like yelled at because that's reserved for people that have a physical handicap. Because that's what's literally gotten explained to me before. And I'm like, well, read a book. And no, I have Crohn's, so this actually classifies as like my toilet as well. So I'm gonna go. But yeah, it makes it more difficult to feel comfortable going or, using what you need to use, wipes,
Yeah, some space to yourself.
space, time to think, no gossiping at the sink, no makeup time. Something bad is coming out of me, like leave the premises, like do your duty and leave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is tough. Look, not everyone can have one. I feel like it's hard because even when you do have one, some people can still walk in if they have one too. They can open it
And
with their key.
oh,
I've done it before where you, sometimes people don't like to lock it and to be in there. I mean, I went to cinema the other weekend. I didn't actually go into the disabled toilet. I went in a normal toilet. When it's not busy, I'll go into a normal toilet,
Yeah.
um, or the one everyone uses. And then the person didn't lock the door in their toilet. It was open, like it. No one was in there though. And then
Oh.
they were on the toilet, and I opened it and said, "Oh, what?" And then and this he didn't say anything. He was like he was reading a newspaper by the looks of it, um, on the
I didn't know that
toilet.
was still in. Well, that's
Yeah,
nice.
yeah, yeah. Um, and I understand why people don't lock the door, but if sometimes you can't lock doors because they don't lock, but
I
it's
think
hard.
yeah, that's a different issue over there. I don't think
Yeah,
we're having too much of that over here.
yeah,
We just have the stalls that you basically might as well all just be going without a wall in between you because,
mm.
they go all the way down.
Oh, that's not very good.
No,
But
I don't know who's designed these, but yeah,
I think there's a big issue around toilets and the whole toilet end of the society.
unfortunately,
Yeah,
yes.
and that's just one thing, like stigma around people, Crohn's just being around that when it's around loads of different things. Um, it's not just about one thing, is it? Crohn's, it can be about
Nope,
so many different things.
not about just going to the bathroom.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
Unfortunately, that I feel like
yeah,
that would be a lot easier if it was just
yeah.
that.
It would, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I got weird things happening to me all the time. Just add on, add on.
Yeah,
No.
yeah. You have maybe food you can't eat. Um, but I don't think.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
depends on the day with me, unfortunately. But yeah.
yeah. Like, you have loads of. You have loads of people doing these healing things, and I don't know what I think about that. Like people have approached me about it, and I, healing your Crohn's will heal if you have this. Um, but I don't entirely agree with it. But um, I do think there's a segment of Crohn's that revolves around food.
Yeah.
Um, like I couldn't eat anything spicy when I was diagnosed. I still can't, but I loved it before.
Right. Right.
I loved it.
I think there's a trade-off, and I think there isn't a one size fits all. And I think that when people are just like, oh, like you must not be able to eat X, Y, and Z, or like, why haven't you given up this, or why don't you drink celery juice, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, like you would be healed. Like that's just not the point of this disease. We don't have cancer, but no one would say anything to someone with, breast cancer, like, why don't you just, they probably do, honestly, but not as frequently probably as the IBD community getting the why haven't you tried the bean diet or why haven't you tried this diet? And let me tell you, I have tried them all and nothing has helped because guess what? It's a combination of everything. And until I'm on the right medication, that's going to stop my body from attacking itself and affecting my immune system and just the loads of things that are going on in my body.
Oh,
No food is going to
mm,
solve it. Might help it, but it's not going to solve it. Things help.
yeah. Nothing much can be find. Like, I can't have caffeine. I can't have. But to me, having drinks that have no caffeine in it don't really taste much different to me than having them in.
Right.
Um, some people probably don't have their own opinion on that. They might think that. I might only say that because I haven't had it in ages.
I
Um,
I can't give it up just because that's what I've decided. Like there are certain things I will give up. My
mm,
caffeine is not like if I'm really sick, I will.
yeah.
Um, but I'm like at this point, I'm like, look, I'm missing 13 inches of my intestine. I'm always probably going to be running to the bathroom to a certain extent. I'm gonna have my coffee anyways, like I'll subtract that bowel movement from the amount of that day.
Yeah. You've got to have some things that you like.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good if you have like these treats because I'm like that sometimes. Like I think I was on holiday and I because I was I wasn't doing very well with my Crohn's, but sometimes I was like, I don't care. I don't care if something happens later. I just want to have fun.
Right.
I just want to have a good time. I probably know something's going to happen, and it did, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed having it fun.
I usually don't drink, and like yesterday I had two pumpkin beers, and then today I was running to the bathroom and I was like, oh my God, what is wrong with me? And then I was like, oh, it's probably the beer. But like I don't regret it because I made a good memory with it. So I'm like, okay, like it is what it is. Like I'm just gonna have like a little bit of a more symptomatic day for
Yeah,
myself. Yeah. And
yeah,
that's what living with a chronic and dynamic disability looks like,
yeah. I know what you mean.
you know. Plus,
Yeah,
I with all the mental health stuff too, like I have CPTSD, and it's like sometimes you just need a little treat, you know? And if the ice cream's gonna help, I'll take the harm with it sometimes.
yeah. I think it's good every so often. You just
Right,
try it because it's not all Crohn's can be really bad. But when you're doing alright, and maybe not even though when you're doing alright, just have a treat if you're going on holiday or you just want to go out with friends. Not
right,
like you're going to do it all the time, but it's something that you maybe haven't had in a while that you really like. Like when I was out, I tried this really nice drink. It was like I think it was a cocktail, and I didn't have it at first. I think my mum, she got it, and I got another one, but I liked her one more, so. I was going up and getting that one a few times, and I don't. I'll probably get something's gonna happen later, but I
yeah.
don't. But I don't care anymore. I want to have a nice time. There's too much precautions all the time, even though it's important to.
But
But
the restrictions almost worse sometimes. Like you know what, once you're stable enough, like not if you're like, I don't know. We've all done it. I drank profusely when I was in college, and it is what it is. Like I think I had a lot of fun. I don't fully regret it, but my body was also just like, hey, now we're tired for the rest of our lives. You did too much. But every now and again, it's not gonna hurt. So the
yeah,
trade-offs.
we do, we do, and sometimes like with blood as well in the pan. I think that was a consequence of me that night, but I got it even before, so.
Right.
it it wasn't great, and but it was something I've used to seeing for years. It happens every so often, and
Exactly.
and yeah, I had I had a drink, but I knew that was gonna happen before anyway, and I don't think it was all the drink's fault because I haven't had any drink for the I think the last few days prior, and still had blood, so I think it was another reason. I think
It's just, yeah, it's like another little like contributing factor, but wasn't like the full reason behind
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think because I, I developed a hemorrhoid recently. I think when I was on, it might even been before the holiday because sometimes you don't know.
Yeah.
It probably was, but yeah, I'm gonna be seeing my consultant about it, and because I did take cream, and then I'm gonna see him because my consultant would like to see me in person rather than pictures. Um, so it's got smaller, it has, and it has irritated the fistula a little bit, but um. Yeah. Uh,
It's it gets ugly back there if you start having more than one situation though, so I don't blame you for getting it checked out.
yeah. I mean, I think I checked it because I was just keep getting blood, and
Yeah.
I just didn't think it was just the alcohol um, that I was having when I was on holiday. But yeah, I don't know when. These appointments can happen in months' time, so you just at some point this year, I reckon. But it's funny because whenever I see him, he was like, "I don't want to see you," because of course he doesn't want me to come. He only wants me yearly, unless something
Oh,
happens. Because I have a yearly checkup. Because I do all right. Like
yeah.
I don't have unless something really bad happens. I don't see him till the next year.
Are you
Uh,
on like stable medication, I'm assuming
um,
though?
yeah, I am
Or
on.
not?
Yeah, I am. I'm on. I take azathioprine. I've took that ever
Oh, okay.
since. I take Humira every 2 weeks injections.
Nice.
Um, I've been on that for a few years, and that's my second biologic I've been on. I was on infliximab infusions beforehand, but then
Yeah.
had a reaction to that where I couldn't breathe on one of them. I
Same.
needed
I did that
oxygen.
too.
Oh,
I
did
did
you?
that too. Yeah. I had anaphylactic shock from it. Yeah. It was like
Yeah,
really cool. I turned like red all over, couldn't breathe. Yeah.
yeah. Not nice,
Yeah.
is it? Um,
No.
but yes, I've been on Humira ever since, and I'm in a flare in the sense I have been in a flare since like with the insides just on a high level, not a painful, not pain, but
Right.
in that sense. So yeah, I normally see him a year. The only time I won't is like if I'm needing to go for something like this or something else. So we have this joke where he's like, "I don't want to see you till next year or something." But but yeah, I never like when people look. 'Cause I went to the doctors and they wanted to look up there, and I don't really like people touching me as it is. So
No,
it's so
not randos
yeah,
because I'm like, once it's streamlined in the medical like system and everyone knows what a perianal fistula looks like, we're not looking back there for funsies because then they're going to be like, oh, that doesn't look good. But my doctor would say, oh, it looks amazing today. So yeah, I don't blame you.
yeah. Um,
You also you also need someone that's going to like touch gently and not
yeah,
dumbly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. He's done it before, but I don't even remember what it was like before. So, um, but yeah, that's gonna happen at some point. But the hemorrhoid has got smaller, and it's weird because I don't really push when I go to the toilet, and that's what they say hemorrhoids are supposed to be.
I know.
They develop because you're supposed to push, but I don't push. I mean, it's weird. Like,
I think it's just they naturally occur with like how much our like areas working down there, like how much the muscle is. Like I think it just unintentionally is pushing.
yeah,
We're not pushing, but it has to push. So I'm like, what do you, yeah,
yeah. But
hemorrhoids,
sometimes, but sometimes,
accessory.
but sometimes, if I wake up at a certain time and I haven't gone to the toilet, I'll probably worry about it, and I might push because I haven't been yet. Um, that's when I might. Um, but I normally go. It's normal for me to go 2 times now a
Oh,
day.
yeah. I definitely go more than twice a day.
Yeah,
I'm like a 4 to 5er at this point, and my doctor's
yeah,
just like, your blood work looks great and your colonoscopies are great. You're just like symptomatic for some reason. And she's
yeah,
trying to figure out like what will work with like my nerves that
yeah,
she's assuming are overreactive at this point because she was like, we can't keep testing if nothing's popping up. So,
yeah. Um, I have a friend that only goes once a week, and
oh,
he doesn't have anything wrong, like doesn't have Crohn's or anything. But
oh,
I've I've never known anyone. I know people do that, but to me it's weird. I don't know.
yeah, that's
It's something that I've never experienced. Even before Crohn's, I always went once a day at least. Um,
wow.
um, or at least that. But I've never have lived without that, unless maybe something's wrong. Um, like. I needed like with my Crohn's, if I couldn't go, I would maybe go another day. But yeah, it's just now thinking about that now, going once a week. I mean,
I
it
don't
must.
think that's normal. That's too much
Yeah,
toxic stuff in my body. I don't,
yeah.
it's gotta go quicker than that.
I think maybe if they don't eat a lot, maybe that doesn't
Yeah,
develop.
I don't know. I
Yeah.
wish
Yeah.
in a weird
I would
way.
love to go once a week though. It would be interesting. I wouldn't go to the toilet.
It would be like a nice, like once in a while experience of just being like, oh, we're doing this again. Okay, cool. What a
Yeah.
great week for this to come about. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
I like it's better than being
yeah.
in the toilet all day.
Yeah. But it's interesting because before I had Crohn's, I had a schedule where I would
Yeah.
just go every evening. Go every evening I did, but now I don't. I go every morning. So I don't know what's happened there. It's because my Crohn's it's changed, so I changed when I go. I just go when I wake up. And yeah,
Yeah,
but
mine's unpredictable. Mine didn't pick a schedule. Still
yeah,
hasn't picked a schedule. Working on it, maybe.
yeah. It's
Maybe one day.
yeah, maybe. But
Maybe.
sometimes I've gone 5 or 6 times a day where I don't know. I mean, I know I had something to eat the other week and it wasn't very friendly afterwards, but yeah, sometimes you get all sorts of different outcomes.
Yeah. The fun mix of the diseases.
I do, definitely. So how are you doing at the moment with your Crohn's?
So I'm technically in remission. I think that like symptomatically I'm not in remission. Um, I think I have like hyper symptoms almost, but I think that it is like a more of a like body systemic issue that's going on. Like with the CPTSD, I think that it affects my gut in the sense of it overreacting almost to like just any normal event where like it appears normal, but to me is like a trigger. Like I feel like that's emotionally too much on the mind gut connection. And I think that's what a lot of it is happening right now. Thankfully I have a doctor that's like really understanding and never like says like, oh, like I think it's just all in your head. Like we'll see you next year. Like she's still seeing me every 3 months because I have a lot of symptoms and she's treating that and I still have an active fistula. So um I'm on the Skyrizi right now and methotrexate. Um, but there's been a lot of studies and like research over here that Rinvoq plus Skyrizi could be a good combination. So that's potentially on my down the block radar. I might get a new med combo and
Mhm.
stop the methotrexate, which would be a huge win for me because I've been on methotrexate on and off for 10 years now, and I'm kind of over it as a medication. Um, I don't know why. I just have like an emotional I'm done with it. And my doctor's like, that's okay. We'll try to get you off of it, but we're not gonna rush. Um, so like always, kind of just a mixed bag, dealing with the symptoms, but lucky to be working for myself right now so I can rest and figure out what my body does next.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's all a journey to see what happens. What's gonna
Yeah.
happen next? Um, so last few things,
Yeah.
other than raising awareness and liking cats, what other things do you like to do? Do you like watching anything on the telly? Do you like what?
I'm a big reality TV snob on the telly, so I love anything with like the Real Housewives. I don't know if that's over there, but
I've heard of
um
it.
anything Bravo related. Yeah, I'm a big Bravo snob. And then I am a huge reader. I've always been a really big reader. I read like any book I'll read pretty much. I have like an obsession with reading, always have 3 books going at one time. Um So definitely doing more of that now that it's getting colder. I love art. I've been teaching myself like more digital art, like through Procreate on the iPad. So I've been doing like classes on that. Oh, and I'm getting married next year, so I've been planning a wedding just like as a fun, yay, hobby thing for now.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. When are you planning? Do you want it in the winter or do you want it like earlier in the year?
No, we're getting married next June, so I wanted like a little early of a summer wedding. Hopefully it won't be too cold or too hot.
Yeah. Better
Really
time.
hoping for just like a 65-degree day, just a
Yeah.
nice,
Just
yeah.
nice breeze.
Yeah, nice breeze, not too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, that's really good. And is there any advice that you'd give to anyone else that has Crohn's or from your own experience?
I would say to not be ashamed to ask for additional help, whatever that may look like. I think that, you know, finding a therapist, finding a support group, or finding like at least a friend who is going to have a lending ear helps a lot with either adjusting to the disease or just dealing with the ups and the downs of the disease. Um, and knowing that no other person's going to be perfect in accepting it. But as long as they're open to learning more about it and learning how like your life is going to look, I think that they're worth giving a second, third, or a fourth chance. Um, too. And to also let go of the shame. Like things are going to happen. You're going to fart unexpectedly. You might poop your pants one day. It comes with the disease and it sucks. But a lot of these people, we all started out pooping our pants. So, it's
Yeah.
always going to happen to someone. So, and find
Yeah.
a community. I feel like there's a lot of us online that have social media accounts that are open to receiving DMs and being that listening ear if someone can't find that support. And I think that that's super important as well.
Yeah. I feel like there should be a song called Poop in Your Pants.
I feel like it has to exist somewhere out there already on the dark web, but TBD.
Yeah. Yeah. Needs to happen if it hasn't already.
Right.
Yeah.
It's more people are becoming comfortable with their butts.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's quite inspiring when people are open to sharing out on the internet because
Or or even
yeah.
seeing like companies do marketing like Toshiba Day. Like I don't know if you follow them, but they're like easy to install bidet systems because over here like it used to be super expensive and it would be something that you would only get at like if you owned a home rather than like if you rented. But Tushy has made it like super accessible to get like an attachment and have the system without it being too much of a cost. And but their marketing is unreal. Like they're just okay with using poop all of the time. And like they have made songs or they'll send you like a playlist to listen to like calm your poops down. Like they're just all
Brilliant.
about the butt. And I love it.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. And
I
I'm
love
like,
that.
that's no shame, like they're just that's part of their culture. They've built it in.
Yeah. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we're all pooped out, aren't
Yeah, we
we?
are.
Yeah.
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 But thanks, Katie, for coming on.
Yeah.
Talk,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, talking about bums and stuff like that. It's not every day we speak about that, so
No. Not every day
yeah.
we meet someone with similar fistulas either. So
No,
always a
no,
good time. Yeah.
yeah. Now we
Yeah.
know. Now we
Now we
know.
know.
Now we can
I
speak
know.
about
Yeah.
it. But yeah, it's been awesome. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
To anyone watching, listening, we hope you've enjoyed it as well. And see you in the next episode, this month. But thanks, Katie, and see everyone in the next time.
Thank you.